This is Eat, Sleep, Invest, the marketing podcast for real estate investors to get more deals.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and I'm here with Santini Lancioni. What's going on, man?
Good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited. You guys are into some different kind of stuff here.
Yeah.
So give me a little bit of background, because you're on the other side. You're over, well, not even on the other side of the state. You're east of me. Give me some background on all what you guys do.
Yeah, so right now we're about 90% wholesaling. We do fix and flip, and I originally started off as a buy and hold investor. So we accumulated around 150 rentals, I would say. We sold off about 20 of them when the market got really crazy, just to kind of get some cash. But right now we sit at 130 doors. We do our own in-house property management. We have our own construction company. So yeah, we do a lot of things, and wholesaling really is the foundation of that because it provides that consistent deal flow. So that's where a lot of my attention and time goes to.
That's cool. Now, you used to work for WB Mason, right?
Yeah, yep.
Now, were you one of the door-to-door guys, or what'd you do there?
I was, man. So right out of college, that was my first job I ever got. So I was with them for 7 years, and I started off, I was making $40,000 a year as an entry-level sales rep. And I didn't know any better. I was just going out there and just trying to outwork everyone. And I think it was that basketball background that I had and that competitive nature that drove me every single day. But, you know, by the time I looked up, and I'm like, wow, I'm one of the top sales guys in the company. And just stayed with them for 7 years and made a lot of money actually selling office supplies with them. And
that's cool. Yeah, because I know that's a hard racket there, dealing with office supplies, because people don't like to change much.
Exactly. It's really difficult. Like, especially, you know, there's tons of vendors knocking on your door as a business owner. So coming in as a paper sales guy, it's like, this is the last person I need to deal with. We spend, you know, $100 a month on paper. We don't really care. Like if we save $20 on this, you know, so
right.
It was difficult. You really had to build that relationship and make them like you as a person. And then eventually you would get all their business. But
yeah, now you said, because you were in the Stockton Hall of Fame too for basketball.
Yep.
So like, let's talk about that, because you have those skills of what you did in the past, and then door-to-door sales, which I'm sure helped you out now into real estate. But what was the basketball like?
Yeah, so dude, I was so committed to sports growing up. Since I would say like the 6th grade, I was one of those like basketball junkies. I was getting up every day, just trying to get up 500 shots. Just had that work ethic instilled to me, and a lot of it had to do with my brother. He played too. So I was just like following him around, and I wanted to be the best player possible. And, you know, got into high school. I was one of the top players in our area, and my grades weren't great. So I went to a Division III school out near Atlantic City, New Jersey. It's called Stockton University. But yeah, that was like the foundation, man, of the work ethic and understanding that you could be the hardest worker, and still not go to Division I and not accomplish your goal. So there's more than just hard work. There's obviously, tangibles and you know, IQ and your cognitive abilities. There's just a lot of factors into business and life. So it taught me a lot, honestly.
That's interesting too, because you go for basketball, you learn the ethic, take that to door to door pretty much, selling paper.
Yeah.
And then what made you get into real estate?
So I was making good money. I was probably making around $300,000 a year at WB Mason by like year 5 or 6. And I just had
How old were you then? Because you're pretty young.
Yeah, I was probably like 27, 28 years old, maybe.
That's good money for 28.
Oh, yeah. I was living in a penthouse in Philadelphia, just didn't really know what to do with myself, driving a brand new Audi. But I was, you know what, I got to do something with this money. So wanted to invest it, and real estate was the easiest path for me. And I bought a triplex with FHA actually, but I put the money down and then used the rest of the money to fix it up. And that was kind of the beginning of my first investment. And from there, I had a warehouse manager that was buying houses at auctions in Philadelphia. So he would take me around to collect rents from his properties, and then he would bring me to the auctions as well. And I would just see the process. And like, man, you guys are getting houses so cheap from here. You know, that's the key, is like, can you buy them cheap enough and accumulate rental properties? And that kind of got me into the space. So if you fast forward a little bit, like 2 or 3 years into me buying properties, I'm around like 30 plus units. And I said, you know what, let me make this a full-time business. I love the space. I see the opportunity. So it was really difficult it was a difficult decision to walk away from that type of salary that was guaranteed. And, I think it definitely paid off now. I'm just looking back, but it was a leap of faith for sure.
It is a leap of faith too, because you're making good money and it's secure.
Mm-hmm.
Going into an unknown. And that's interesting too, because most people get into real estate because they want to make a living. You got into it looking at the investment side of it.
Yep, exactly.
You know,
the
like the
income and the financial freedom. I think 99% of people who get into this space, that's the most attractive part of it, is that you can collect that mailbox money month after month without doing anything. Really, your money's just working for you, and then you got the principal paid down from the mortgages. I mean, there's just so many benefits to buying real estate. Whether it's tax advantages, leveraging tenants, having an appreciated asset over time. So that was really what just piqued my interest.
Yeah. What do? When you're buying for your buy and hold stuff, you primarily single families or multis? Because I know you say your first was a triplex.
Yeah, so I'm always looking for duplexes or triplexes, but really if the numbers work, I'll buy it. So right now we're working on it's a mixed use, but it has 15 units. We're probably going to end up getting rid of a couple, so we'll have 11 units total on that. So that's, we'll do anything as long as the numbers make sense. Really the BRRRR strategy, if you're all in at around 75% of the value and it cash flows, we'll do it. As long as there's a lender that can get us out of it and put us in a long-term debt situation, then that's my mindset. At least I wouldn't prejudge a deal.
Sense.
Yeah.
And you said you're pivoting a little bit now too with interest rates and everything. Like, what do you have going on?
So right now our mindset is, let's not overextend ourselves or buy properties that aren't cash flowing. So we're just trying to basically wholesale as much as we possibly can, and we'll either wholesale or buy the properties ourselves. So just looking to really just boost up our cash flow. And I would say like the last quarter, we've seen a dip. Like a lot of investors are getting tighter with their guidelines of what they're going to buy. So we're working harder to sell deals. Sellers are still caught in that la-la land where they think their house is worth a lot of money. So that's an uphill battle right there. And then for some reason, I feel like the marketing slowed down a little bit. Like we're spending more money on marketing, but getting less leads. Now that could be an internal problem with us, but I just feel like just talking to a lot of CG members that are in our footprint in our area, they're kind of saying the same thing. So wonder, we're going to navigate that and just adapt, but still profitable at this point. And we're going to have a big February, thankfully. And I feel like the market's picking up a little bit too still. So
I'm seeing it picking up too. And on the marketing side, I am seeing, through the holidays, usually cost per lead will increase. But you're right. We're in that like la-la land where sellers don't understand. Sellers are lagging behind where the market is. So, and then some sellers are panicking and they fill out forms online like, hey, we want to sell our house, and it's already listed.
I know. That's the worst. Oh, that's a great neighborhood. And then it's online. Like, oh crap.
Yeah.
So
it's because because there's transition. Like some people, think about a single family owner, like just a normal family, they may owe too much money on their house. They're in a panic. And now they're listed on the market. The market just crashed. Didn't really crash, but it's dropping. And they're panicking. They're like, we're going to sell it. And they think an investor is their solution, which is not.
Nah, usually it's the worst case. But we've been uncovering a lot of creative finance deals with the people in distress that have good interest rates. So I'm seeing a lot of those opportunities come across our plate. So that gets me really excited. We have a couple of good ones that I think we're going to convert over. So just seeing that opportunity there is going to be probably our next pivot, is just focus on, just converting these no equity deals into opportunities.
Yeah. So what are you talking about there? Are you talking about the properties that wouldn't really make sense to purchase outright, but since you don't have to do financing or anything and you can just be creative on it, you can pay a little bit more?
Yeah, basically. So if it's the subject to model, where if their house is worth what they owe on it, but we can cash flow it or possibly force some appreciation through a renovation, then we could do a novation type deal situation. So really, I think just having those multiple exit strategies for a seller and just providing those solutions, if you definitely can capitalize. Like, I can't tell you how many deals that we not overpaid, but did novations on that wouldn't work for a wholesale, and we're making way more money. We're making $30,000 to $50,000 on those type of deals that we couldn't sell to anybody, like any investor. But kicking a little bit of money for carpet paint, maybe a new HVAC system, and then just some good marketing, that could be the key right there to maximizing your profits. And Eric Brewer was one of the guys that kind of piqued my interest, I think like 2 years ago, about doing Novations. I was probably one of the first people in those classes or courses that he sells, but he's made us a ton of money just learning those little strategies. But it's a lot of in between transactional coordinating work, fighting lenders and title companies don't want to insure some of those deals. So again, it's not as easy as it sounds, but once you get a process around it and just make sure you're ready for those type of problems, it's a profitable space, I think.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a thing people need to hear too. You're talking having multiple exit strategies. So you pick up properties, like, especially in this market, you need them.
Oh, 100%.
Like, so so you got the sub 2 Novations, like, what are all the things you're looking at? Number one, when you're buying a property, and what strategies are you coming up with to make sure, if something changes, I have 3 different ways to get rid of this place?
Yeah. So we're always going to go cash offer. That's our first strategy, no matter what. But we got to also feel the pulse of the seller. Are they very firm at a number? What type of motivation is there? Is there any flexibility as far as being creative? Then we'll make that judgment call. If it doesn't need a lot of work and we could see that this is a good novation, we typically have our sales guys bring that back to me or Jesse, and then we'll make those decisions for them. So this way they're not getting decision fatigue or just pitching novations 24/7 where we could have got a good cash offer on them. But yeah, just feeling out the situation. If it's a good, even lease purchase options, we're doing those as well. And I look at those as basically long-term wholesale contracts. Say there's a bad tenant in there. Well, instead of us trying to fight pay the tenant cash for keys or can't get inside, how about this? We know it's a good deal and we don't want to jam up our cash. We do a lease purchase option where maybe we pay them monthly payments until the tenant leaves, and it could be 6 months. And we have an agreed upon exit and purchase price at that point. So we've done a few of those in the past where by the time the tenant leaves, we still have time on our lease purchase. We'll fix up the property and then we'll novate it out. And a lot of people don't look at that. They just walk away from those deals because the seller wants too much money or the tenant is just in there and they can't get them out. Where look at the lease purchase. I think that's a great strategy for people that are just like, they know it's a good deal, but they need time to figure out something.
Yeah. And I guess just listening to the seller, because the sellers are going to tell you their problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They tell you what the problem is, then you just need to be smart and think and not just have the one that, like, say, just offer one offer. It's like, okay, what's going to help you guys solve your problem and work for us?
100%, man. We had a deal recently where the guy had 3 properties he wanted to sell, and the one was just in a bad neighborhood. It really didn't make sense, but I said, listen, I really want these 2 properties. If you can do seller finance for me on the 3rd one, I'll take it. And we got them down at a really low price. It's probably like 50% of what it's actually worth, but we got it on 8-year terms at 0% interest with a little bit of money down. But I'm like, at those numbers, that's a home run, that deal. That's actually the best deal out of all of them. But it's just how you position it and how you put the terms in place really is going to make or break the exit on that. And people love buying notes and they love buying easy deals that don't cost a lot of money. And you can wrap the mortgage or wrap the terms on it, and then you can make monthly cash flow. Then you have a payoff at the end of the schedule. So there's so many ways to get creative in this business. Yeah,
that is so important too. Because I talk to a lot of investors, and a lot of them are like, yeah, they're just so like one lane. I don't even know if that's a word. You know what I mean?
One dimensional, right?
Yeah, they're like one dimension. It's like, okay, hey, we offer this. We offer this, and we're wholesaling.
Yeah.
Versus thinking a little bit outside the box, because the people are hitting you up. They want to sell a house.
Yeah. I think you got to squeeze the juice out of every lead. Like, yeah, you're leaving money on the table. I respect when people are focused on that one thing because they're really good at construction or really good at just, making cash offers and wholesaling. But you got to evolve in this market. Like that strategy worked in a different time. Now is, now you got to squeeze the juice out of everything possible. There was months where we looked at what closed, and thankfully we had 3 novations on the board because we wouldn't have made much in wholesaling. So, but if we didn't have those multiple exits, then we could have been in a bad situation that month.
Right? Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about this. You got a strong team.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Jesse. How did you find that guy?
Geez, that happened kind of by accident. His brother was a sales rep for me, and I met his brother. They were looking to buy a rental property. So I knew him, probably a couple months before he started working for me. But his dad and I were golfing. He's like, hey, Jesse's looking, to really get out of his job. Like, and to me, he didn't ask me that, hey, could you get him a job? But in so many words, I'm like, you know what, Sean, his brother's doing phenomenal. Let me give Jesse an opportunity. And there was a lot of people that backed that up, that he was the real deal. So brought him in, and I didn't really have a lot of systems or processes built out for him. I basically just sat him next to me and said, shadow me. I was like, I need you to run the list for me. We're doing RVMs, we're text messaging, we're going on an MLS. Just kind of help me organize this stuff. And next thing you know, he's just moving at the speed of light, just developing like really quick solutions for me and taking so much off my plate. Even accounting, like I didn't even ask him to do that, but he's organizing our accounting. So right away, you're recognizing like this guy has rock star ability, and he cares, and he's staying late. He has a great attitude. So really, it was just luck at that point.
What was he doing before? Whenever the job he was trying to leave,
he was at an insurance company doing something with them. But I know before that he ran a bunch of Pandora stores. Okay, and he ran the sales departments there. So I think that's where he got a lot of his like discipline and how to run systems and processes. And plus it's his profile too. We ran the predictive index. He's a captain, and he's got that discipline mentality that helps him he's a perfect fit for a COO. Yeah.
Okay, and that's interesting, and especially kudos on your part too, because most people will bring someone in and then they pigeonhole them in that position versus seeing that this person can grow. Like, did it just happen naturally, or how did you see that?
I know. So I think we got off to a quick start because the first 4 weeks, all that happened. And then we went out to Tiffany and Josh High's event in Ohio. So that was like a 2-day all out, like he soaked in so much information. And I'm like, Jesse, that's kind of got to be us. Like, I'll be like the Josh High, you be like the Tiffany, where you run all the systems, processes, know the numbers, and let me run with the sales guys, and I'll train them, and I'll do whatever I got to take. So we came back, and I think that event really, the switch went off for him. You got all the abilities and core values, but the switch was what we needed. And from that point on, we just kind of slowly every 90 days just built out something new and just tweaked our systems, and joined Collective Genius too. We just keep raising the bar with ourselves, and we kind of mirror a lot of people that we look up to in the business, and we use their marketing channels. We sharper business solutions. We brought them in, and that really was a wake-up call on how serious we had to get with the level 10 meetings, the KPIs, the process mapping. And I think that just keeps, we're constantly evolving, him and I think that, we're becoming better leaders too. We're challenging ourselves every day. We're reading books, we're also holding each other accountable. It's not, I would say every week we have a tough conversation, Jesse and I, where we're challenging each other to be better as leaders. And not just us, but there's other people in our organization like that too. I mean, it's right. Contagious. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's pretty solid too, because I see it like, you guys run pretty smooth. Mm-hmm. And I'm always curious how people find rock stars, because rock stars are hard to find. And then sometimes you'll find someone that crushes it in like one space, but then you stick them in the wrong seat.
I know,
things like that.
It's so common. And yeah, just talking to a couple people that they just still haven't found that number two. And you can almost blame yourself in a way. Like, am I equipped as a leader to attract the right number two? Maybe. Or is it a little bit of luck? Is it a little bit of timing? I'm sure there's a lot of factors when it comes to that. But for me, it was organic. Like, we developed a very talented guy to become a number two. And he even said, we both say today, like, we're not anywhere near where we need to be, especially with a possible recession coming, where we need to make sure that we could survive and also lead at the same time. So yeah, there's still a lot of work in progresses, but I think we have the right personnel for sure.
Yeah, and especially you got the right people, and like being in groups like Collective Genius, things like that too. You're surrounding yourself with other guys that are on a pretty high level, so you can always try to elevate, and on that side too. That's always smart.
Oh yeah, there's just so much talent in that room. Every time I come back, I'm just so humbled, and it's tough not to get caught in that comparison trap. But it's kind of, if you could balance it, it's what you need, because you're forced to elevate, and just even when it comes to social media, like. When I first Collective Genius, I was not present on social media, but like every major guy in there is has a videographer. They have someone editing and posting content consistently. But I didn't really understand the mindset behind that. But I'm like, you know what? Even if it's just for deal flow, post. But I needed that group and guys just to tell me, like, you got to post, man. You got to get on social media. You got to invest time and money into it. And there's been a big ROI on that for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's an excellent group. Like the people they have in there. Like I go to the events and I'm like, geez, man, there's like so much opportunity out here in the space. It's like you think you're doing well, and you're right. You do get comparing a little bit. It's like, I always like being around guys up here when I'm down here.
I know. Like Phil Green was on your podcast, 2 weeks ago or something. And listening to his business and his COO talk, I'm like, man, those guys have it together. You know, it's unbelievable.
And then that's a point too. You go hang around with people like that, you're gonna turn into who you hang with.
Oh yeah, definitely. Brewer's my leadership coach. You know, I signed up with him for 3 months and learned a lot from him. You know, he's someone I look up to, and Benmont is a phenomenal COO. So those two right there are just perfect guys to emulate and try to be like in business. So
yeah, that's solid. Now you help people in your area too, don't you? Don't you do workshops?
Yeah, so we got into that. You know, obviously with posting on social media, there's a lot of attention that comes with that. So every day we're getting DMs like, hey, you know, interested in learning about real estate, love what you're doing, trying to pick your brain. So we were throwing free networking events. We were getting like Renovo Lending sponsoring those. So it wasn't really costing us any money. But we threw a couple of free networking events, spoke at a couple, other people's events. And then we decided, you know what, let's try to post a workshop. And it sold out. Like literally the first one sold out. And we actually sold more tickets than we wanted to because the room didn't have the space. But it's just incredible, like, to see if you can stay consistent on social media, whatever your call to action is at that point, you should be able to accomplish it. And I don't have that many followers. I have like 2,000 followers maybe on Instagram at this point. But, you know, just using Facebook and Instagram together and growing that following, and you have some loyal people, you know, and I could just see, like, what direction do I want to take it now? Like, the opportunities are endless right now.
Yeah, and that's cool too, because think of the lives you can change. Like, say someone comes in there that never thought about real estate or thinks they could do it, and they have like probably 1 out of 100, because most people come in and they just over their head. But
yeah,
like the guy, just think about that one kid that comes in and he takes it and runs with it.
I know,
like, it's a whole lifestyle change.
I can't tell you how many wholesalers or guys that wanted to learn wholesaling, they ended up like learning from our business, and then they bring us deals, and we make, you know, a couple $100,000 off them in the first year. So like, you got those type of people, and then you got the biggest part right now is finding new investors or finding buyers. We're creating them ourselves. We're setting them up with lenders. We're setting them up with, you know, contractors, refi companies. So whatever it is, we're helping navigate everything. We want to create a little bit of an ecosystem in our market, so then this way we can capitalize and just help the community.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I like that. Now, what's the best way for people to reach out if they want to get in touch with you?
I would say definitely Facebook or Instagram. Just my name, Santini Lancioni. Look it up, and, you know, just DM me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Typically 24 hours. But yeah, it's me on there. It's not some VA.
All right, cool. Hey, what's your website?
It's hofrealestate.net, and on there you can, you know, book an appointment or, you know, sign up for a workshop. You know, we have everything on there.
Very cool, man. Hey, well, thanks for coming on. Anything else you wanted to make sure we talked about?
Now, that's it, man. I would say to anybody that's listening to this, just, you know, always, when it comes to leadership, it starts with yourself. You know, just make sure that you have good habits, that you have a vision in place, and that you put yourself around the right people, and everything else definitely will work out for you. So
yeah, it's a good tip. What's your favorite book?
Right now, it changes all the time. I would say Rocket Fuel. Jesse and I right now are reading that. I read it like 4 times. It's just a book that, like, I just love reading.
Nice.
Much value in that.
Yeah, cool, man.
So,
hey, well, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you.
All right, Brian. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone, thanks for listening. Yeah, get out there, crush it, close some more deals. We'll see you next time.